Welcome everyone to this episode of Let's Get Real, Let's Be Raw. Today we have a special guest with us, Chantal St Martin. And before I introduce her, let me introduce myself. I am Lisa Drennon, your host. I am a life coach working heart to heart with women on a journey of forgiveness. Check out my signature program, Forgiving the Girl Inside, a healing journey about forgiving yours truly. And this series is what that's all about. It's about us forgiving ourselves, overcoming something that we dealt with, whether it be anxiety, depression, autoimmune, whatever it is. Women come here weekly to share their journey of healing. And if you'd like to be notified of the next video, they are posted weekly on Tuesday. Be sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you'll be notified so you don't miss any of the videos. So today we have Chantal St Martin. She is going to share an incredible transformation story on how she overcame anxiety and depression. An amazing woman, she is now a dedicated holistic natural wellness coach on a journey to help others heal and find their way out of the vicious cycle of this debilitating disorder, and for them to start living the full and happy, balanced life that they were meant to live. Welcome, Chantal. I'm so excited to have you here today. Tell us some more about yourself.
Well, hi, Lisa. Thank you so very much for allowing me to speak and share with you today. I'm very honored. And if I could give just one person hope today, then I've accomplished my goal. So I live near Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm 51 years old, married my high school sweetheart. And I am the proud mother of two adult boys, men, Ryan 27 and Mark 26 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yes, on his birthday. And we live on 50 beautiful acres in the country. I'm about an hour and a half hours away from Toronto. I just
Oh,
cannot
nice.
do the downtown anymore. I love the tranquility of Mother Nature that surrounds me.
Oh, it sounds beautiful. 50 acres. Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome. So what do you do on the acre? Do you like farm or do you just enjoy the land?
We enjoy the land. We have about 40 acres that are treed and trailed. So we snowmobile, we do some ATVing, we have a cabin back there. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place to spend time together as a family. All of us enjoy it.
Yeah, it sounds gorgeous. So tell us about your healing journey.
Well, all right. So I started suffering of anxiety and depression, I'm going to say at least 30 years ago. And it all started, I had become a mother at the age of 23. And unfortunately, my baby was a sick baby. So I spent a lot of time at sick children's hospital in Toronto with my son, who is now today 27. Um, and I think being away from home for 3.5 hours away from home, I couldn't travel back and forth. I had to be at the hospital almost 24/7. And I think that's when things started falling apart. So we're talking, about 30 years ago. And what that has caused, it's not just the anxiety and depression disorders, but the struggles with stress, weight gain, hormone imbalance, addictions, emotional blocks, just to name a few, you know. And
Yeah.
honestly, I thought it was normal to live like that, but I always said to myself, just suck it up, just suck it up. You're a big girl, deal with it. But you know what? That's not reality. Um, Unfortunately, it actually, let me rephrase that. It sounds like it's reality for everybody, but um, we have one day about 4 years ago, I finally just shook my head and I said, I'm done. I'm so done. What is so wrong that I have such an abundant lifestyle around me, why am I unhappy, and why do I have behavioral issues? Um, just to name a few. I mean, it was just it just felt like my life was running away from me. So it just didn't feel good at all. So 4 or 5 years ago is where I said, that's it, I've had enough. I need help. And I need to do something. So I've had there were a lot of options, if you will. And the one that I was invited to, uh, I guess not a summit, but on a Saturday. It was called Exceptional Woman, and that day changed my life. So
Oh,
yeah.
how did it change your life? What did they do?
So it was a group of women that had also beaten something in their lives, and that how they have come out of it um, very successful. Most of them are entrepreneurs, because we need life coaches out there. We need holistic nutritionists. We need spiritual healers or energy healers. It just opened up my world, and showed me that there was a lot more out there than just your regular counseling sessions with a counselor and
Yeah,
therapist, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because sometimes when you go to counseling, especially for anxiety and depression, I remember when I went, they're like, "Well, count to 10." Okay. It just slowed me down. I still had outbursts.
Yeah,
Didn't
I
really
just
do
didn't. I
much.
didn't get it when they told me to count to 10. Right? I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
you want me to count backwards now? It didn't do anything. I mean, there were some sessions that were deep, that you become very vulnerable. You become so desperate to get better that you just lay it all out, right? Like, I mean, I was at my wit's end, right? And I'm like, whatever I can get for help, please.
yeah,
So,
exactly. So what would you say would be the one tool that you learned that kind of gave you your first pivot?
okay, so um, I have a few tools. So the one, of course, is getting medical attention from my family doctor and my therapist as well, because that's number one. They know, um, you know, they they're the experts in that field. I ended up having to take. I ended up on 14 different medications.
Wow.
Yeah, three of them were the original, we'll say, psychological meds. And then I would have a problem sleeping. So they would introduce a new med. And as they introduced a new psychological med, I would suffer from a physical illness or issue. Then I'd have to go to my family doctor and go get high blood pressure med. Then I'd go back to the psychiatrist, and there was still something that was not right. He would adjust my medication, then I would have another physical issue. So I was back and forth because the psychiatrist doesn't deal with any physical issues, and my family doctor leaves the mental health support to the psychiatrist. So it became very frustrating. I was I was so ill. I was spending 20 hours a day in my bed.
Wow.
It was debilitating. I could not take care of myself from a personal care perspective. Thank goodness my children were at an old enough age where they were able to, to be independent and feed themselves and go to school. Um, I mean, it was a blessing, but I couldn't. I mean, it stopped me from playing my role of a wife, a mother, an employee, from my corporate job, a daughter to my father and my mother, and a sister. I mean, the medication fogged me up so bad, I lost all energy for everything. And that's depressing,
Yeah.
right? So I had to get out of that. And so again, I begged the psychiatrist. I said, there's got to be some kind of support group, something to open up. Like, what is it? Please diagnose me. What is going on? So it took a lot of work. I did follow my, sometimes it was 3 times a week I would go to therapy. I would take day programs for, let's say, mindfulness. Uh, they had wonderful support, and it was half day programs, and I couldn't take full day programs because I was too tired. Plus, I'm in the country, so I have to travel a little bit. So I just really had to keep going until I found something that made the big difference.
Right.
So that was number one. Had to follow the medical rules, right? The regulations. Then that's where in 2015, I got introduced to Young Living essential oils and natural products. I started taking some natural supplements, definitely using my oils all the time. It was life-changing, but it also taught me to uh, maybe this is where I kind of started my spiritual journey, if you will. I being a young girl, we went to church every Sunday. I helped out. I was in the choir. I did everything I had to do. Once I moved away from Northern Ontario to go to school, then things kind of got really different. So I stopped going to church. I always had my faith, but spirituality is completely different than religion. And once I picked up on the energy healing that I received from attending that women's conference, it was life changing. So I pursued different techniques, if you will.
Okay. So when you say energy healing, what are you referring? Like, can you explain that?
Absolutely. So I decided to get my Reiki certification or Reiki practitioner certificate. Absolutely beautiful modality with the energy center healing. And for those who have never heard of it before, it's all about aligning our chakras, right? And so these energy centers, there are 7 of them. Mine were so out of whack and out of balance. The goal was to get them all aligned like this. And it's a lot of work. You have your root chakra, so which is the base, and it also means basic trust. Then you have your sacral chakra, and that means sexuality and creativity. That's where you get your energy from. And then we have the solar plexus, which is all about wisdom and taking our power back, if you will. Then the heart chakra, which is love healing. That one was so out of balance for me. The number one task that I had to work on was self-love. So, and just to finish this off, then we have our throat chakra, which is for communication. And then we have our third eye, which is awareness. And that one I really shined it up. And this is the one that really changed everything when I put it back, when I attuned it. And then our crown chakra, which is our spirituality. So once I took that class, got certified, I went through a very incredible experience. So I'm like, I have to continue this. So I am not a practitioner. It's not part of my business to welcome people and allow them to get a reading. I do it for family and friends, my 2 dogs, but it was more for me. So
Mhm.
at night and in the morning, I do some Reiki healing on me. So that is what started it all off. And from there, I became also the AFT from Dr. Perkis, Aroma
Mhm.
Freedom Technique. That was another one at the beginning of my journey that I had. It was mind blowing at what
Yes.
it could do, right? So
Yeah.
I'm a certified AFT practitioner, and I'm a Reiki level 2 Reiki practitioner. So you could do some distance healing as well, and I'm a certified soul adventure facilitator guide, and that again is all about energy healing, and being aware that you have a soul and spirit, and to basically make it come out, make it do some work for you. It's beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really interesting. I don't know much about that, but I am learning. We had a guest on this show that is also Reiki, and that was I didn't even know how to pronounce it. I hope I said it right.
Yes, you did.
But I was like, "You're what?" And I've actually heard it. I go for monthly massage, and I used to go to a place where they had a chiropractor and acupuncture and a Reiki person. I really thought it was something to do with your facial, where you kind of like get like open up your pores or something. And I was just like, well, okay, well, and I didn't need it at the time, so I didn't even look into it. And now I'm hearing more about it, so it piques my interest. It's very interesting because there's seven, you said? Is that there were
Yes,
seven?
7 main chakras. Yes.
Yeah, so seven's a really is my number. It's a really important number. It means, whole completeness in the Bible. And in ULA, we do the seven keys. So my modality includes the seven balancing seven key areas in your life, and it's all centered around that forgiveness. And so that really spoke to my heart. So the audience out there listening, if this is something you're interested in, definitely connect with Chantal. You said you can do that. You're level 2, so you can do it. You don't have to be in person to have that done.
That's right. We could do a Zoom, and we could do a distant healing, if you will. Um,
Uh,
like I said, I don't. It's not my main income stream, but it's
right.
there because
It's a
sometimes
modality that you can
it's a
use.
modality that I can use as a backup if there
Hmm.
are if we haven't been able to clear up what energy cycles are out of balance. So it's just a
Yeah.
different, I just love it because I do it for myself. It's very relaxing. And because with having anxiety disorder, as you can imagine, we have to do. I found that doing a lot of mindfulness and meditation, and so stopping that uh, the mind chatter. Um, Reiki was beautiful for that.
Yeah.
Amongst other things. So that was my main goal was I have to stop this stuff that's going through in my mind. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how we can get caught up in our head and our thoughts and just get, caught in that whirlwind. And before you know it, we can't even move forward and do our daily task, what we're
Right.
supposed to be doing. You get so sidetracked. And I know a lot of it, when we don't process our emotions, it comes out, they get stored as trauma in our body and then they come out physically. So definitely need healing we need to learn how to process our emotions when they hit us instead of burying them. So if you can
Exactly.
give somebody advice that suffers with anxiety, depression, what would be one piece of advice that you could give them?
You're not alone. Ask for help. Don't, don't keep yourself in turmoil until you really lose, your passion. Because I lost my passion for a long time. I have no regrets. I am just so much gratitude that everything showed up at the right time, uh, which to me was just so many healing modalities that I had the choice and option to choose that what made my heart sing.
Yeah.
But look, because and Google and you know use the tools if you can, because your toolkit is definitely important.
Yeah. Now, you said earlier you were on 14 medications. Are you on any now?
One,
One. So you went from 14 to one. That's awesome. That is so
yes.
awesome. So that's
So
great.
it was a, you know, uh, when you're taking that many, you can't just stop cold turkey. You
Right.
have to get weaned off, and this started 5 years ago. So, um, yeah, it's been a big journey, a long journey. Life is a roller coaster ride. Right now, I'm dealing with a very, to me, it's a sad matter. My mother has just been placed in palliative care, and only has
Sorry.
so long to live, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
have to take care of her, and I lost my dad to cancer, 6 years ago. So now I'm going through it again. Um, but she lives with me in her own self-contained two-bedroom apartment, so she has her space, I have mine, and it's way better than me being 15 hours away from my immediate family. So I'm grateful for
Yes.
that. But we have to also take care of ourselves. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, is that because for so many years, I did everything to please everyone but myself. And so
Mm.
after 30 years, I'm like, okay, where am I in this equation? So my number one goal now is to take care of me. And a great analogy is, a friend of mine said, Chantal, you got to put your oxygen mask on first, then you can help others. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Me time is so important, and it took me a long time to learn that when you pour into yourself first, you can pour into others that much more. And when I was younger, I was so busy taking care of my family and raising my kids, I didn't have time for me time. And when it was suggested to me, probably when my youngest was like 10, I was like, me time? That's selfish. I don't have time for me time. And they're like, no, if you don't take me time, you are not. I mean, I was losing it every day. So when I realized that me time does not mean you're selfish, it means you're pouring into your family, then I started practicing that belief and implemented it. I woke up an hour before everybody else and got my me time in, and it was wonderful. It just really was a pivot for me. So that's an awesome tip. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey. I love that you're using the Young Living essential oils and the other modalities for the healing and the spiritual energy, and it's so beautiful. Tell us about your offer. So you mentioned some of the things that you do. So what's your overall specialty that you offer?
Well, my number one love, if you will, is definitely Young Living. But number two, very close second, is the Soul Adventure game. So this, I do take an hour to myself in the morning, um, that I call my self-care. It's me time. And I now have added, it's non-negotiable. I have to do it. And
I
early
love
in
it.
the morning, uh, I find that it sets me up for the day. Okay. I've learned to listen to my intuition. I just find the amazing feeling that comes with it, the awareness, the calming, the relaxation. It's just beautiful, and it should be part of everybody's life. So the Soul Adventure game is a game that my friend Lori Appleby created 3 years ago. I've been playing it myself for 2 days, sorry, not 2 days, for 2 straight years. And lately I haven't missed a morning in 3 months. So it only takes 10 minutes a day. So in the morning, after I've had my tea or my organic coffee, I open up my box. There are 3 decks of cards in here. You get a journal card booklet. I'll just open it quickly. You get a booklet. You get your 3 decks of cards. You even have your journal cards. you shuffle your cards, and it'll give you some kind of a message that um, it's meant to be for that day. So it gives you kind of half a sentence, and it wants you to finish that sentence with whatever your intuition comes into you and says, how does that feel for you? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're all unique. So we're all going to come up with a different answer. So I just find it really beautiful to fill in the blanks. And once you trust the process of, or you know the process and you implement it, for me now it's just all automatic. So, and and then it gives me actions that I need to do for the day as well, right? So I filled it out this morning. Here it is here, and I keep it on my
Mm-hmm.
right. So so the way Lori created this is the game comes with um, 88 journal cards, and the booklet here will let you tally up what you've pulled for 44 days, and then you do a round two of another 44 days, which is 88 days. Okay. And what will happen is at the end of your 44 days, you look at your categories to see which one you pulled up most often. And for example, in the heart chakra, one of the, for me, the first time I played this, the self-love me card came up so often. Then I tallied it up, and it was the one chakra card that came out the most. So when I tallied up my 44 days here, the theme and trying to decode that theme was that I wasn't doing enough self-love care for me. So that's where I started playing every day, and it was such a peaceful modality. I decided to become a facilitator. So she's trained
Awesome.
me and a few other ladies here locally. We do the Soul Adventure Circle on weekends, or lately, obviously, it's been online, and it's just wonderful. And there's no right or wrong way of doing the game. Everybody has to start at a certain level. I still consider myself a beginner just because I always have questions that come up, right? But it's just been very healing for me.
Wow, that is awesome. I've
Yeah,
never heard of that either.
I did create a video of an example how I play the game. So if you could share that within the video, Lisa, I'd really appreciate that.
Absolutely. The links are going to be below so when you're done watching, you can go into the description. You'll have a link to this cool modality, and you can connect with Chantal and figure out how to, when the next game thing is, get her video and learn more about the different healings that she offers. So be sure to click on the link. And thank you so much for coming on today and sharing with us. I really, you have an awesome story, and I love your journey. It's just what a cool healing journey. So thank you for being here.
And thank you for having me.
Yes. And thank you for those out there watching and listening. Like I said earlier, be sure to hit the subscribe button, tap the bell so you'll be notified of the next video.